to another exciting edition of Two Men in a Room. It's Thursday night, and there's only one man in the room tonight. Yes, co-host is hopefully going to be in just a little bit. So I figured start the show. That way everyone can get notifications if they want to join in live. Go ahead and join in live. Give us some comments. See what we can do. So, what are we going to be talking about tonight? Well, there's some beginnings and there's some endings. And that's what we'll be going over tonight. So we'll give it a few minutes. Just about a minute in. I'm still configuring stuff in my space here. So don't mind the background at all. It's just there. So we'll give it another 30 seconds or minute or so. And we'll see if anybody wants to join in. Okay. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Interesting stuff tonight. Interesting stuff going on tonight. Give it another 30 seconds or so. Just make sure everybody wants to jump in, jumps in. If you're watching on replay, just watch an ad right now. Yeah, there's no ads, because guess what? I don't need the money to do this type of show, so, I'm self-made. Plenty of financing for the show, so we just keep rolling the show on no matter what. No one's going to stop us. No one's going to shut us down. No one's going to try to intimidate us or anything. No, we're just going to keep doing the show. Doesn't matter who wants to stop. Doesn't matter at all. So that brings us into our first topic. So reports are right now that fans, quote unquote fans, of the Acolyte are coming after certain YouTubers to try to shut them down based on what they are claiming are racist remarks against the people that watch the Acolyte. Now, I'm not really sure who watched the Acolyte because the ratings were terrible, which is why they're not getting a second season. But this is so much more than just Star Wars. This is more about free speech and how you can use it. And it seems to be on the attack more and more each day, as we just saw Brazil shut down X, formerly Twitter, from the people of Brazil being able to use it. So you're basically shutting down a town hall or a meeting in the square or a barroom conversation. That's what those type of events are. People just having a chat with each other, talking, commenting, strategizing, I guess you could say. But it's just people having a good time, talking about things they like, talking about things they don't like. And for governments or government entities or people who believe they are in high positions of power, they want to shut it all down because they don't like what's being said or how it's being said or why it's being said. And honestly, they only have the power that they're given. You go back a couple thousand years and, even kings weren't powerful unless their kingdom allowed it. I mean, it was very easily, you had monarchs taken down, you had civilizations taken down. Like, the power is given to those who deserve it. So we've sort of lost sight of that. we've sort of lost this, you know, ability to see what's really going on. And I say that in the fact that a lot of people just wake up every day, they just go to their job, they do their job, come home, pick up the kids from school, and they just believe everything that they're told. They just see everything that they see and believe it. They don't question anything. They just keep on going because, hey, it's not affecting me, so who cares? But as we're seeing throughout these countries and these regions right now, the rights and abilities that were given to us by constitutions, and in some cases, even God, they're being taken away from us. And I think that's the bigger cause to be fighting for, not Star Wars. Now, in this case with the Star Wars acolyte thing, I honestly don't think it's a bad thing. I know a lot of the guys are already coming on and saying, who are these people that are coming after us? Just look at them. What are they about? What are their more? Haters are going to hate. And believe it or not, I think it actually helps you guys out because it just gives you more of a push. Now, I know some of them are really big. Gary from Neurotic has over 1 million subscribers. But there are parts of society that don't know about you yet. And I think this may push it a little more. There was actually somebody who brought up the Milo Yiannopoulos, I believe was his name. It was a thing back in 2016. He was a gentleman who decided to go after, or so they claim, the Ghostbusters movie, the one with all 4 women in it, and didn't do really well. No one really wanted to watch it. So they tried to say that he was going after them simply because they were women. Now, if you really look at what he was arguing, I think it was more so the movie just sucked. No one asked for this stuff. No one really wants to see this stuff. So it's not really a racist or sexist or any of that stuff. But it's really, I think, just a small group of people just hating that their thing was being put down. I mean, hey, everybody's thing gets put down every now and then. If you like trains, there's somebody out there that can't stand you because you like trains. If you like to quilt blankets with cats on them, someone's gonna make fun of you for that. Like, if you really liked it, if you really, really like it, just watch it and enjoy it. Don't worry about everybody else. Just enjoy it. Fortunately, there won't be a season 2, so don't know where that's going to go. So we see the beginning of the erosion of freedom of speech. So I think you should certainly be watching it, paying attention to it, because it could go as far as where China's at right now. You can't say anything against anybody there. They have actual social credit scores that rates you on interactions in society. So if you say things bad about the government, you say things bad about other people, other institutions, you can actually be denied ownership of a home, ownership of a car, several other things they can do. You can even be jailed. So do you want that for your society? That's something to pay attention for. So other things beginning tonight, football season. That's right. The NFL kicks off in about 10 minutes or so with the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. And that means the Swifties will be sitting down for this one because Taylor is supposedly supposed to be at the game to root on her boyfriend Travis Kelce of the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I know I said last year that they would be broken up by the Super Bowl, and I was wrong on that. I was wrong on that one. But something came out the other day that was really questionable. So, a letter from a PR firm that works with Travis Kelce, it had its letterhead on there, came out stating that the whole relationship was a fix and that on September 28th it was to end, and then laid out subsequently the details of how to handle it with the press, what they were going to say, how they were moving on, how they appreciated the relationship and it made them grow, and what Taylor was going to go focus on, what Travis was going to go focus on from there. So that got circulated around and then was immediately shut down by the PR firm as saying it's a forgery. They don't know who created it or where it was sent from, but do not believe this at all. They are very much together and in love and all this. So I'm bringing back the clock. September 28th is about, 3 weeks away. So we're going to see. Honestly, I may even call it right after the election. I would say late November, probably right before Christmas. They might be done. So, clock's on now. We're going to see what happens with that. As for the NFL season kicking off, I think a lot of people have kind of tuned out of it, especially with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and a lot of the good quarterbacks from the early 2000s are now gone. I mean, you have some up and coming guys. You still have the Chiefs going for a third Super Bowl, but it doesn't have the same cachet as what it used to have. It's just not there anymore. I think COVID taught you kind of how to live without sports, and I think a lot of people just tuned out and then never tuned back in. So I don't think you kind of see the same enthusiasm for it. The numbers may jump around a lot because you may get people who want to come back into it and try to see what's going on, and then you may get other people who don't really care, who may just tune out now. So is there any real fun to it? It's so because now they do games in Europe, so they're on it like 9:30 in the morning. If you're going to church, you gotta miss it. They are now trying to have games in Brazil, which is like, why? I mean, this is an American game. Like, I don't know if it really translates as well. Baseball, amazingly, got picked up by the Japanese really well. They love baseball. So that really big American sport got picked up by another country and they really enjoy it. So I don't know if another country wants to watch American football. We'll have to see if it actually takes hold anywhere, but the times are just going to be absolutely crazy to try to figure out, like, if you've got a team in America trying to play a team in Germany, like, it's not going to work. You're going to have to create your own league over there with their teams and stuff. So it's a head scratcher on why, other than they just want more money, which is like, okay. But yeah, the new NFL season starts and we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'll lightly follow it. Not a big fan anymore. There's just nobody to really latch on to that you really are like, oh my gosh, I love this guy, and oh my gosh, this team's the greatest. They're gonna really do it. Nah, it's just there's nobody anymore. So beginnings and endings. Beginnings and endings. What else is ending? Well, if you're a Dodge Chrysler fan, it seems that might be ending soon also. So a lot of the Dodge vehicles are now getting pushed out of America. There's a report from TK Garage and also Butter the Insider, if you want to check those guys out, stating that BYD, a Chinese electric car company, is seriously looking into buying Chrysler. So a lot of the vehicles that are being made right now through Dodge Chrysler are being pushed out. So you have the Dodge Ram 1500, or the Ram 1500 as they like to call it. That's now being pushed down to Mexico. You've got your Dodge Durango, or the new replacement that's going to be made, is now being pushed out to Canada. And in one of the weirdest moves, the Jeep Grand Cherokee is now being pushed to be made in Egypt. I mean, they built the pyramids, so they built some good stuff. But would you buy a Jeep Grand Cherokee made in Egypt? Really interesting on that one. Now, why is this going on? Well, Stellantis, the brand that owns Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, and Ram, they're an international company. They own multiple nameplates in various countries, and they are actually headquartered in Italy. So, not surprising that an international company would be pulling their stuff out and doing it international. So, am I a fan? No. I'm a Chevy guy. Come on now. But it's sad to see guys who love the Charger, love the Challenger, love the Hellcat engines, love the high horsepower, love the fun. Families who grew up with their Dodge Caravan minivans in their town and country, and they're not going to have anything anymore. And even though I don't love these brands, like I say, I may not be the biggest fan of whatever they like, but I hate to see it when they lose stuff, especially stuff they love. It's sad because there really is no need for it. I mean, there's competition. There's enough for all these brands to have and sell well. They just weren't selling what people wanted. So, like I say, I have this comparison or analogy or story or whatever you want to call it. You can sell a 10,000 rug all you want. Sell them out. Once you run out of people who can afford a $10,000 rug or even want to buy a $10,000 rug, what do you do then? Do you redesign it into a $5,000 rug? Do you just mark it down? Do you just say, hey, we're just going to keep going and see what happens? Like, those are the decisions that bosses and presidents and CEOs have to make to see whether the company is strong enough to go with whatever decision they're going to make. And sadly, sometimes they make the arrogant decision of thinking that their product is good enough to keep on going. And it may be good quality, but if people aren't willing to pay for it or can't pay for it, that's a big issue to have. So, unfortunately, we may see the demise of some nameplates and some companies and some brands that have been around for a really long time. Really long time. The Dodge brothers were there when Ford was making his cars. So we're talking about early 1900s Walter P. Chrysler was out there. Lewis Chevrolet. A lot of these nameplates. Rolls and Royce. A lot of these guys were out there. You know? Mercedes-Benz, I believe, was 1880s and stuff. They've been around for a long time, so you can't tell me that, well, it just didn't work one day. They've been around for a long time. What happened? So endings on that. And we'll jump into one last thing. The ending of a good economy. So, job postings came out this morning. It was around 99,000 jobs in August that were added, much lower than what was expected, and kind of expected if you've been watching stuff, but starting to see some cracks forming in the economy right now. A lot of layoffs going on, not as many jobs being added, not as many job openings being put out there either. So if you're having a tough time at work, I would say stick it out now. Just do what you can just to ride it out and see where it goes. It's not like it was a couple years ago where you could just job hop to this one and that one and that one. This one, it's going to be a little rough for a bit. And we're starting to see where things are going to go. Will it be as bad as 08? Unfortunately, I think it might. So if you got some assets you want to let go, go at a good price. You know, if you can afford everything, just hunker down. And if you want to buy something, just look for value. Prices on a lot of stuff are going down. Even gas is going down right now. I paid under $4, and I use premium. I paid under $4 for it, which I haven't paid in probably a year or so, maybe even a little bit more. So even the gas is going down right now, just because there's no demand anymore for it. So if there's no demand and there's stuff not happening, prices are going down. So be ready. So those are the beginnings and the endings of some of the stuff that's going on. And now I just want to take a few minutes and go over something that happened yesterday. There was another school shooting. County in Georgia, I believe was up by Atlanta. Sad to hear 2 teachers and 2 students were killed. 9 others injured. The assailant, I'm not saying any names here. I don't want you searching families or anything like that. Let that go by. The assailant was a 14-year-old kid and was actually being watched by the FBI, or had been watched by the FBI. It depends on what report you're reading. But he was on a Discord, which is basically like a meeting space online, and had been talking about school shootings, which alerted the FBI, which then kicked it down to the sheriff's department of that county to look into. The sheriff's department found that there were hunting rifles in the home, but was told by the father that the kid could not access them without supervision. So nothing was done after that. And that was about a year ago, because he was labeled as a 13-year-old and now he's a 14-year-old. Here, he will be going through trial. They did apprehend him. It's very easy to say, because it is early in the investigation, that this may have been a drop by the FBI, the local sheriffs, and the parents. Right? If you've been alerted that your kid is thinking about shooting up the school, you should have immediately gotten weapons out of the house. You should have had him in some type of counseling. Figure out why he wanted to shoot up the school. You should have done more due diligence with this. Was he mentally stable? Did he need psychiatric help? Did he need counseling? Did he need even to be locked up, possibly? Were those issues addressed? So that is something that we can say right now that needs to be looked into. It's certainly saddened to hear that people were lost. You know, every time this happens, I always think, like, you wake up that morning and you go to your work, you go to a school, and you're not coming home that night. And that's something to think about. Like, imagine if you go to your place of employment or you're running errands for the day and you don't come home that night. Like, that's a little chilling to think about, but it's the era we're in now. I found it very unpleasant that, you know, I didn't think about much of a reaction. You know, when these were going off about 10 or 12 years ago, people would actually write posts about it and address it online and say, "Oh my God, what a tragedy and what happened," and now it just seems to people kind of just glaze over it. I didn't see much coverage other than just stories being written, a little bit of news coverage on it, but you didn't see the outpouring of support. And I don't know if it's just because so many have happened that you get kind of destigmatized to it. You know, you just when you see the first car crash, it's terrible. When you see the 10th car crash at your corner, you kind of wonder, what should we do to fix this? But when nothing gets done and the 50th car crash happens, you just kind of say, well, we kind of knew it was going to happen and it happened. So what do we do for this incident? And I wonder if people are starting to get to that point where you've just heard about it so much that you just say, okay, what do we do to fix this incident? And I'm not saying, you know, guns are the problem. I'm saying people are the problem. You know, if you have these type of things that happen, you really have to question why people did it. Why did this kid do it? Because it may stop the next one. You know, I think we really need to have a discussion with where we're going and how fast are we getting there. You know, and a lot of things can be brought up: morals, religion, mental issues with the youth, where a generation is going, where the next generation is going. You know, you hear so many stories that, oh, you know, the Generation Z is not going to be as great as what the millennials were. And millennials aren't as great as what Gen X was. And Gen X is barely holding on. And the boomers are the last great generation. So if it's going to keep getting worse and worse, are you going to start seeing more and more of this stuff? Are people going to get so depressed that they're taking themselves out, they're taking others out? Like, where are we going and how fast are we getting there? And that's something to think about because it really could happen to anyone. You don't know. When's the last time you talked to a family member? When's the last time you called up a friend? When's the last time you waved at somebody? Everybody seems to be kind of getting isolated right now and over the last few years. And it's taking a toll on some people. And some people can't handle it well. So we need to take a look at that kind of stuff and see what's going on. So, a lot of stuff to think about, some beginnings, some endings, see where everything goes. I'm going to wrap up this show with a couple thoughts. One, where the hell is Disney going with all the stuff they're doing? Unbelievable stuff. We'll talk about that Tuesday on Tuesday's show. I'm going to jump on a little early because we'll go over what Disney's been doing, and then we're going to jump into a watch along of the Trump-Harris debate, and we'll do that, and that'll be fun. A couple other things to think about. It's fall, or just around the corner will be in a couple weeks. So, what are you doing for the holidays? Are you planning a vacation? Airline flights are going down. Gas is going down. You might want to prepare now. And I just want to thank everyone for showing up and watching this. And I probably don't know half your names. So if you ever do want to feel free to just comment, let me know who you are. I'm always thankful because I do these shows mostly for myself, but also for people to watch and have fun with and go from there. And we have a good comment here. Where's Vernell? Well, unfortunately, Vernell could not make it. So I'm kind of just winging it. It's one man in a room tonight. So we're going with that for now. But yeah, we're here to have fun. We're here to talk about stuff. We're here to think and enjoy this wonderful life that we all have. So hope you join me every Thursday. 2 men in a room. Who knows? Maybe next week it'll be 2 women in a room. We might switch it up. Who knows? And then also on Tuesdays, the Angriest Man in Orlando, where I get a little more stressed out over stuff. It's a lot of fun. So thank you everyone for watching tonight. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Enjoy some of the cooler weather around the country that I've seen coming in. It's still hot as hell here in Florida. It's terrible. And I'll see you next time. Have a great one, everyone.